stay with politics, but turning attention to developments within the People's Democratic Party. And we're joined now by Effiong Edunam, former ASU chairman as well. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, sir.
We're looking at how politics it's being played in this country, how different political parties are making pronouncements, how they're strategizing, because what people see now, some of them think, look, this is just a typology of what is yet to come. But the People's Democratic Party, parties trying to overtake some of the actions that they're taking. How would you assess the way they're conducting themselves, especially now that first, you heard about the new PDP, then you also heard about people who have left the party, then the chairman, and now they happen to be the ruling party. Do you see them just coming to lose that position eventually?
Let us at least acknowledge the fact that our democratic practice is still at the infant stage. And during the learning curve, a lot of challenges are bound to arise. And how a political party manages such a challenge when it arises suggests whether it is going to move forward or collapse. And I think in terms of the kind of challenge that PDP has experienced recently, we can only congratulate the party that it weathered the storm, came out with a new chairman, because there were a lot of scavengers hovering around what they thought would be the carrion of a dead PDP. And I think they have been disappointed. And the other parties too have been trying to feed on the disabilities of PDP, and by that approach grew to replace PDP. But only a short while ago, these parties demonized the membership of PDP and its leadership. And now they are absorbing these demons into their existing structures. So we still have a little time to wait and see whether, having absorbed these demons, they will not end up with the kind of problems PDP.
We don't know what you mean by demons because we're not in church at the moment. But the thing about this is that, in the National Assembly now, for instance, don't you see the PDP having major challenges ahead?
You may see a few hiccups in the National Assembly regarding the relative strength of the parties. But PDP is a party that has already consolidated its standing in the Nigerian polity and in the National Assembly itself. Others who are absorbing people from PDP have yet to prove that they can digest what they have absorbed and still move forward as PDP has done in the last 15 years.
Just as you said that some other parties seem to be feeding on what happened within the party, but this we've seen at the national level. But even at the state level, look at the infighting that exists in some of these parties, including the People's Democratic Party. So one would have thought that, if they sorted it out at the national level, the states would have learned from what happened there and won't have a problem. But that is not the case, is it?
No, PDP is not a party of angels. If you didn't have internal contradictions and challenges as you have observed, then of course we would have been wondering what human beings constitute the PDP. PDP is an evolving party. Our democratic practice is also evolving. They have to grapple with the problems of deepening internal democracy, the challenges we face with the emergence of party leaders, the challenges of funding the party, the challenges of the distribution of power within the structure of the party, and so on. So we could still expect these troubles to continue for a little while longer, but then the party is laboring at resolving them, as we saw in the case of the national chairmanship.
Well, I'm happy you mentioned the national chairmanship, and now it has a new chairman, and you have used the word challenge for almost 7 times now. Perhaps we should look towards that. If you say the opposition is already feasting on some of the wounds in the PDP or cracks in the PDP, then we should be talking about the challenges in the PDP and how to surmount them, possibly. So when you say challenges, what are some of these you see in the PDP that you would want to be looked into, especially from the national level?
The PDP has a problem of internal discipline. You may have observed that it was only when the trouble within PDP reached this critical phase that a disciplinary committee was set up, headed by Umaru Diko. You would expect a party that takes discipline seriously to have had such a committee in place. As a result, a lot of even the senior members of the party had been undertaking anti-party activities, and it would seem they all got away with such activities in the past. Maybe now that the disciplinary committee is in place, they will check.
Most of these actually start from the state, and it is almost like the headache of the state chapters that we finally see giving some problems to the national arm of the PDP.
One of the profound challenges of PDP at the state level is the issue of who should control the structures of the party. The PDP from the outset had designated governors as leaders of the party. That has posed quite a serious challenge.
How?
In the sense that, it also extends to the issue of funding. Who funds the party? Because who funds the party necessarily must try to control the party. The party has to work out a way by which it could fund itself without relying unduly on those who hold political offices. And that is when the party structure at the lower levels can assert a degree of independence. But at the moment, you can see how people who are even crossing carpet at the National Assembly just follow the direction of their state governors, because there's something they are afraid of. Who controls their constituencies?
Why should that be a problem within the party, either at the state or federal level, when they have what they refer to as zoning? So it should just flow naturally, shouldn't it?
That highlights another problem of the party, because the case of impunity versus social justice within the setup of the party, in that in many parts of the country, though zoning and rotation of office is a cardinal principle of the party enunciated in the Constitution, these are not necessarily followed to the letter in various states.
How?
Because there may be other higher interests which compels the leadership of the party to dictate where maybe a candidate could emerge against maybe the unwritten understanding
What states
of how this could be
what states possibly come to mind if you raise this kind of issue?
In almost every PDP state, you have challenges of upholding the principle of zoning. Because in Section 14, Sub 4 of the Nigerian Constitution, you have the issue of federal character, which has to do with giving every section of the state community a sense of belonging. And in the party constitution, Section 17, Sub 2, Sub C, you have zoning and rotation clearly defined to be enforced by the leaders of the party at all levels. But you know, the dynamics of politics at the local level sometimes do not obey some of these laws.